All right, well, I guess, starting off, what a day. Certainly proud of our program for getting out to a great start here in the playoffs. Obviously, that Illinois College team, we just faced certainly has had an awesome year, had our attention, from the get-go this week. They've got some real talent on that team, and I know that program is heading in the right direction for sure. But certainly today we got out to a great start, like I said, offensively, moving the ball, defensively, kind of keeping them out of their game, not allowing them to hit some of the explosive plays. Their top wide receiver got their quarterback uncomfortable early. And then as we started shifting the field position into our favor, our offense really just started clicking. And, next thing you know, we're up 14-0. They did a nice job responding, finding a way to get back down the field there and explosive play and got it back to 14-7. And then, like I said, we responded to get on offense and stretch the thing back out. And then defensively, Caleb Lamphere, had a great day out there today at corner, comes up with a big strip. And then Nate here, a little scoop and score to really open things up. And that kind of, like I said, set the tone there for the first half. And then, again, the offense just continued to pour it on and stretch it out there. Obviously, second half, certainly we were trying to control the ball and, keep that clock running and get some guys some opportunities. It was great. One of the things that was positive there in the second half was to, get our second group both on offense and defense some opportunities to get in the game. I thought Dawson Rudd is a guy that stood out. One of our first-year running backs had a huge second half there for us to keep that clock moving and, finish that thing off. So, great day for the Knights. Like I said, very proud of our team for playing to our standard today. That was what we came into this week talking about was, hey, it's nameless, faceless. We're not really worried about who's going to show up on the other bus. It's about us playing Wartburg football and doing it for 60 minutes. And I think our guys took that to heart this week, got it going. And, again, it's always great to play, here in Walston Hoover Stadium. The crowd was awesome, energized from the start. When we took the field out the tunnel there, I think the guys felt it right away. The student section was rolling, and that played a big part too. So I'm glad we get to continue to keep this season going and to do it out there in Walston Hoover Stadium. I'm hoping that next week on Thanksgiving we'll still have a nice big crowd out there supporting us along the way. So there's some opening statement for you, and then we can take some questions.
Now they got the win, Chris. How important was it having that bye week and week 11 heading into this one?
Hey, there's no doubt that was a huge advantage for us. Certainly there was some concern that maybe it would be a little rusty, and I don't know. Turbo dropped the first handoff on the ground. I started thinking maybe we were going to be a little rusty too, but it didn't take long. Now hooks up with Carter Henry running across the middle there, gets us back on track, moved the ball, and like I said, so I was concerned a little bit initially about a little rust, but I knew the energy level of these guys and the level of play in terms of just not having a game for 2 weeks and then getting back home in front of that energized crowd. I knew we'd come out there, with a lot of urgency and play at a high level, and it was great to have that bye week. And a guy like Owen Grover, who probably wouldn't have played today if we had to play last week. So yeah, it made a huge difference, and I think these guys could probably attest to that as well, just both mentally and physically, giving them a chance to refresh and get ready for the second season that we're embarking on now.
You were playing a team that's averaged about 72 points a game over the last half of the season, and the defense kind of set the tone there right away. On their first opportunity with the football. Yeah,
no doubt about it. I'm super proud of the defense. This offense had me nervous all week long. I don't think you can have PlayStation numbers like that on another team and not be nervous. If you're not nervous, you probably don't have a pulse. So yeah, our defense did an outstanding job. I think our front, that's been the key to our season all year long, is dominating in the front and setting the tone up there and getting other teams' quarterbacks uncomfortable. Obviously, it's also nice when we can kind of manage the run game without having to pack the box with safeties and defensive backs. So we can play a multitude of coverages when our front is playing the way they did today. And I think that was certainly a difference maker. And yes, to be able to get out of there with that team only putting 14 points on the board and kind of holding them in check for most of the day, certainly an impressive performance by the defense.
Well, now, did you feel a need to put points on the board as an offense? I know the defense kind of helped you out there too.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew going in, obviously they're a great offense, put up a lot of points. So we knew that, 14, 21 points might not do it. So we knew, starting fast is one of the things we focused on the most. So, obviously first drive wasn't our, end up how we wanted it, but we then got it going and were able to, I think, control the ball pretty well to help our defense, give them a break as they did have a very fast tempo they were going at. So I think overall I'm really proud of how it all went out with the offense and, as a team, it was a good day.
Talk about your scoop and score.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Langford made that play, knocking the ball out. But I guess there's something to be said for being in the right place at the right time and running to the ball like our whole defense does, and just had an opportunity to make a play. And I think that really was a big turning point because our offense just scored, put us up 21-7, and then 28-7 just like that. So I think that was a big point in the game. But again, Caleb Langford made a heck of a play there, and I just got the touchdown from it. So
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I mean, I'll give a shout out to Nate and to our defense coordinator, Coach Cheddar. I mean, we preach run the football, and if our guys are not playing hard right there and run the football, that ball's just sitting on the sideline, maybe rolls out of bounds. But Nate's right there, and I know they work on scoop and score about every week in practice, and you never know when that opportunity is going to arise. So again, great job by Coach Cheddar, getting our defense ready to play in that manner, and by Nate, like I said, just following through with what he's been coached and getting the job done.
Can he join you there in the backfield, huh?
Yeah, he can if he wants to.
How did you get that 15-yard penalty, then the very next play, you turned around, ran 53 yards? You feel like you had something to make up for there?
Yeah, every time you get a 15-yard penalty, or just a personal foul, you just want to just get those yards back and make, just happen to have a nice hole from our offensive line and just kind of ran with it and ended up scoring. So, I mean, it was a great play, great call by our offensive coordinator, Coach Wheeler, and just capitalized on it. So it was nice.
Yeah, I think offensively, if you think about what these guys did offensively, like Niall even mentioned, maybe not scoring on the first drive, but just kind of moving that ball down, establishing that field position, putting the ball on their half the field. That's been the recipe for Wartburg football forever, winning the field position battle, and that's all three phases of the game playing a role in it. So I think I said that earlier this week. Hey, a punt is not the worst play on offense. You don't want to turn the ball over. You want to keep that other offense starting backed up. Niall obviously was the first punt and pinned him right down there around the 10-yard line. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of executing on offense. We certainly want to put as many points on the board as we can, but moving the ball, getting the first downs. Hey, we might not be the team that's going to score 73 points in a game, but we're certainly going to possess the ball, move it, and be efficient. That's what you saw today from these guys.
Blue Boys seemed to be surprised by Niall's punt to start the game. It didn't look like that they were ready to have him push kick that thing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, obviously they don't get to have all of our games on the season, and so I can't remember how many times we would have had you punt in the last 3 games, but it wasn't very many. So if they did see it, they might have just thought it was more of a token thing that we tried. So that's part of the thing when you get in the playoffs, you only kind of get the last 3 games of the season, and so I think it probably helps out a little bit that they hadn't seen that before, and they didn't have anybody back there to try to field it or anything like that. So yeah, it was a big play, and like I said, this guy can do it with his arm and his leg. So.
Coach talks about, approaching the game nameless, faceless. For the student athletes, how do you interpret that and how do you execute that approach?
I would say overall is just it doesn't matter who we're going up against. Obviously, we're going to prepare the best we can for each opponent, but we played in really big games last year, and we got some really good experience this year coming back. So having that experience and knowing that you got these guys next to you, it doesn't matter who we're going to play. I think we can hang with anyone in the country, and I really believe that, and I know that the guys do too. So it doesn't matter who comes in here next week. Doesn't matter. We're going to take the same approach as we always have and make the most of it.
Yeah, I also will add off of that. Whoever comes into the Walls and Hoover, you just know that the guy next to you is going to have your back. And back to that 15-yard penalty that I had, my offensive line had my back, and everyone else, they didn't weren't bummed out about it or anything or putting me down. They're cheering me up, get next play, And so just going off that and feeding off that. Also with the defense, we just feed off each other in special teams, They make a play, we're all hyped up, high-fiving off the field, we make a play, they're on the sideline hyping us up too, So it's just we just feed off of each other and just love one another and go play the best ball that we can.
Yeah, it's all about us. That's what we say every week throughout the whole season. It doesn't matter who's coming in here or where we're going. If we play Wartburg football, if we play with one another like we do every week, then we know the result's going to take care of itself. And then just how close we are, I think, is another thing. We've been through all of that, what we did the last year, and then just being together every day, on the field, off the field. It really is a family, and that's I think the biggest strength of our team, just how much we're willing to do for one another, and that shows up on Saturdays.
You guys being all seniors, obviously there's a good vibe with what you did a year ago, but now that you're all seniors, is there a different vibe that maybe you want to take it a step further this year?
I mean, absolutely. That's no one wants to just get stopped in the Final Four. We're not satisfied with that, and I don't think anyone really would be. We're not just happy to be in the playoffs or happy to get this win. There's a lot bigger goals that we have for the rest of the year. So just building off we have confidence comes from demonstrated ability. So we know we have the ability to do it. We just got to continue to go in, week out, day by day, make sure we're doing everything the same way we would as we're preparing for any team in the regular season.
Having gone through what you guys went through last year in the playoffs, so one game at a time, that mentality, focusing on that one opponent each time out.
Yeah, I mean, going into the postseason last year, I mean, everybody in our locker room knew what we could do and what we were capable of, but we didn't get a lot of credit from outside the locker room. So, like, if you know, and everybody in this locker room knows what we can do. And that's the same approach this year. It's like, it doesn't matter what they're saying, what anybody has to say about Wartburg. Everybody in this locker room knows what the guy next to him is going to do for them and what we can do for on Saturday. So, I mean, it takes care of itself.
And with last year, too, we were the underdogs last year, and we loved that. And then this year, we have the target on our back being third in the country, and we love that, too. Nothing was going to stop us, but we're going to give you as much as we can, 110%, every single one of us on the field. So, bring your best guys, like our best guys versus your best guys, and it's going to be a battle through the finish.
How do you keep your focus through the holiday, because it's going to be a holiday. Not everyone's going to be on campus and that kind of thing. How do you maintain your focus? Or
Yep.
will it be easier?
That's a good question. That's what I just talked about when we finished up. We're going to enjoy this one, obviously, and we're going to, celebrate the day and enjoy the win, but we got to go back to business here after today. And so how do we do that? Well, I told the guys in the locker room, when you get to Thanksgiving week like this, first of all, let's back up. The number one goal is if you're playing on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving, you want to practice on Thanksgiving morning. I think all these guys would attest that's pretty fun. So that's the goal. And once you get here, we know, how did we get here? Well, everyone on our team made a bunch of sacrifices. They've sacrificed time from their family. Some of these guys could be out working a job right now or going on to graduate school, but they sacrificed to be here with us. And so, hey, we got to keep doing that. Like this week, it's going to be really important. I know we've done a lot of work and it's late in the season and all that, but we need to have a bunch of guys that are still willing to make those sacrifices for us to have a big week here and get ready to go for a really strong opponent. Again, I don't know who it'll be for sure yet, but we know when we get to this point in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be good. And so yeah, there'll be some planning that the coaches have to do and some things that we have to iron out here this week. And I think the guys are going to buy in, trust what we do, and I think we've got a bunch of guys that are willing to make that sacrifice to keep this thing rolling. Because go be with your family on Thanksgiving. Well, these guys, family, it's in that locker room. That's the thing. That's the beauty of this whole deal right now. It's a lot of fun.
Another thing too.
How many turkeys do you have to cook on Thursday?
Well, I don't have to cook too many. What we've always done in the past, and now that we're going to be at home this week, that should be, we should be in pretty good shape. But usually we try to get our Thursday morning practice, or our Thursday practice, or Thanksgiving practice done in the morning, like early. Get it done, get it knocked out, and then we send the guys off back home. If some guys are far enough away that they can't get home, then we're going to find them a home. Like I said, they got family right here. We're going to figure it out. And so every guy on our team is going to eat a Thanksgiving meal. It just probably won't be cooked by me. And they don't want that because it would not be very good if I was the one taking care of that. So,
Chris, to be able to win today as you did, and to give these guys a rest, and then bring the other guys in like a game for you today, how important was that moving forward in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think when you get to this point in the play, anytime you're in the playoffs, but to this point, even like the depth of your team, this is where you start to really see the depth of the teams that are in the playoffs. And so, whether that's, hey, someone gets banged up, we need the next guy in, or it's special teams and just being able to step up and do some things on the special teams to add some depth, take something off somebody's plate. That's what you're starting to see. And I think that's what you saw out there today. Like I said, Illinois College has got some really good top-end talent on that team. I think our depth started to show up across the board in our fronts on both sides of the ball. They had plenty of skill guys that could hang with us, but I think you started to see that depth really show up even early in the game, just the talent that you have in each position, not just in a few. And so we feel like, hey, the next man that jumps in, if someone goes down in our first 11 guys on offense or defense, the next guy up can hold that rope, hold that standard. And that's what we've got going right now. So to give them experience, to get them in the game, to get them in that playoff environment is going to be crucial going forward, because that's what we got to have ready is next man up as we keep going. And you want to make a run like we're talking about making, it's going to challenge the depth of your team.
Well, they kept their guys in until the end. How important was it to hold them to just that 7 points?
Yeah, I think that was great too. Obviously, I'm sure they wanted to get their seniors a chance to finish out their career on the field and do that type of thing. And so, yeah, so for our second group to have to deal with the playoff caliber opponent across from them for a whole second half, that's only going to make us better. And so I think, like I said, our guys stepped in there. You didn't see a whole lot of drop off. Our offense kept moving the ball. The defense kept making plays out there. And I think that should give us great confidence going forward that, yeah, you just played with the playoff team all the way through 60 minutes of football, and we got a number of guys in there to still hold that rope, keep making plays.
The guys here on the sideline today now, is that what you have to use going forward, or can you intermix some of the guys on the sideline for the NCAA limit?
Yeah, so you can, each week you can reshuffle who you want to have dressed and that type of thing. You can have 58 guys in pads on the sideline once the game starts. We had about 4 or 5 guys that were alternates today that went through warm-ups in pads, and then once we knew everyone was healthy through the warm-up, then those guys got out of their pads and were with us on the sideline. And so, yeah, we'll see what the injury report looks like, where guys stand after today. And there could be a chance that something would shuffle around. If everything's healthy and where we need to be, I would say it'll be pretty similar, though.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.